Hi there, Connor here from Hinge. This video then is explaining the RIR scale, okay, so reps in reserve scale, which is very like the RPE scale. So very similar concept, but with usually this protocol in the program, it's more than likely more geared towards trying to build muscle, okay. But really, what the RIR stands for is reps in reserve. Okay, so majority of the time, when you'll see this in the program, there's no reps prescribed in the tab on Train Heroic. It will give you a gauge and a rep range to shoot for. And then it will give you a gauge of where your starting weight should be. Okay, so 3 RIR stands for 3 reps away from failure. 2 RIR stands from 2 reps away from failure, and then obviously 1 is then just 1 rep away from failure. So similar thing then, we're just making sure we're working relative enough to the weeks of training, and similar concept to the RPE is that it should be building on intensity week to week. Okay, so for example, most phases, especially if we're going towards we want to put on a little bit of muscle mass, or we want to tone up, your first week then should be starting around 5 to 10%, just below either a 7 or 10 rep max. And you can be using your stats on Train Heroic, especially the history part, to see what your top rep range has been, and weight at that, either a 7 or a 10. And then from there, then your first week should be around, either if it's, say we're starting with like a back squat, say we're doing 3 sets, and you'll be around, maybe this just say that it is, we're going off a 10 rep max, so we're just slightly under that. And what you're going to be doing your first set at then is you're going to start your first set, and you're going to do 3 reps away from failure. Okay, and then the gauge from that would be anywhere from 6 right up to 15 reps. So say you hit 9 reps, then you could have done roughly 12 reps at that. So you'll stick your 9 reps in, and you'll roughly stay at that same sort of load through that set. But you may, in your second set, do a little bit more reps. Same goes for the third, and so on. Okay. Second week from there may be similar intensity based on the 3 RR. Week 3 then would be more building towards the 2 RR, so it's getting harder, and you're maybe increasing the weight slightly in these weeks. And then on that final week, getting down to the most intense week, then that's down to 1 RIR. So kind of like the RP scale, you're pushing right up towards like a 9 to 10 RP, getting pretty close to failure. So it should be pretty intense. But yeah, that's a brief overview. Okay, so kind of the text here just basically explains where we should be at. And then also in Train Heroic, you're going to see how it's abbreviated then in the actual comments section. But hopefully this makes sense. But think of it, treat it just exactly a similar thing to the RP scale here. And what the previous video was talking more about the RP scale in relation to load, whereas the RIR in relation to what we're using here is dictating the rep range then based on an indicator your first week of what load you should be starting at, and where we're building on that each week to week. But in just simple terms, you're just dictating then how close you are to failure in each given set. Okay. Any questions regarding this, give me a shout on the floor, give me a personal message on Train Heroic, or even ask Kieran or Rachel. But overall, hopefully this helps. Just make sure you're getting as much out of the training here at Hench.